Blake, age 17, and Charlie, age 12, two brothers who live with their grandma, are standing on a bridge. Charlie is picking up big rocks and dropping them into the water, as Blake is making his way through a pack of cigarettes as though they're candy. Their grandma calls Blake up to ask where they have been for so long, as dinner's been ready, and where her cigarettes went. Blake tries to lie and gets caught stumbling over his words. She yells at him over the phone for subjecting Charlie to his actions, and slowly turning into his father, who is no longer in the picture. Blake, pissed off and guilty, hangs up and makes his way over to Charlie, when he hears loud stomping coming from deep within the woods, but he pays no mind to it. For a brief moment, Charlie just looks excited to now be bonding over this activity with his big brother. Out of their sight, a kayaker can be seen floating downstream. The pivotal moment occurs when Charlie drops the rock for the last time, accidentally striking and killing the kayaker downstream. After Charlie blames Blake for being a bad babysitter and for allowing him to drop the rock, he flees the scene, not taking responsibility and running home, leaving Blake by himself to deal with the body. In fear of ruining both his and his younger brother's life, Blake's immediate response is to hide the evidence. He takes the body deep within the woods and attempts to bury it. In a surreal turn of events, the stomping heard earlier turns out to be his grandma's house, although it is now a walking house deep in the woods, running straight at him before stopping directly in front of him. This effect will be done from the POV of the house as it's moving. Once the house stops moving, we would only show the house over Blake's shoulder, effectively hiding the woods and making this illusion of a walking house work. Blake makes his way inside and essentially enters a surreal nightmare, where Blake confronts his grandma inside, watching TV with the full dinner ready to be eaten, and a burnt cigarette in hand. It takes a harrowing turn when Blake's grandmother accuses him of killing the kayaker, and then aggressively pursues him through the house, culminating in a terrifying moment where he runs into Charlie's bedroom to hide, closing the door behind him. His grandma's hands break through the door, gripping Blake's neck and burning him with her cigarette. The physical threat and psychological torment leave Blake paralyzed with fear and desperation. He manages to break free and makes his way deeper into Charlie's room. He is met with a horrifying sight. Charlie, holding a bloody scalpel, is sitting over the kayaker who is lying in his bed. Charlie has skinned off the kayaker's face and is proudly holding it. In a blink of an eye, Blake and the kayaker's bodies switch places, with Blake unable to move. Charlie and his grandma are now sitting over him. They place the skinned-off face on top of Blake's face and begin sewing it onto him like a mask. The sewing of the skinned face onto Blake by their grandmother underscores themes of favoritism for Charlie, and Blake now having to literally wear the responsibility for Charlie's actions. After leaving his grandma's house in the woods, still wearing the gruesome skin mask, Blake stumbles through the woods in a state of pain, fear, and isolation. As Blake arrives back at the neighborhood, his grandma's house is now portrayed as a mundane residence, no longer this entity roaming the woods. The final scene shows Blake confronting a scene mirroring the chaos of his family dynamic. A messy dinner table and his grandma asleep with the same burnt cigarette. He makes his way into Charlie's room, who is sound asleep, happy to be in his own bed. He stands over him, angry and pissed off, dripping blood all over himself. Charlie is now staring up at Blake in fear. As Blake tightens his fist, he lunges at Charlie. We quickly cut to black and finally reveal the title card.